Excel has a number of functions under the category of information functions. If you're on the Formulas tab in the ribbon, under More Functions, you'll see the category Information, quite a few of them. The two that we're going to look at in this movie are Cell and Info. Both of them give us information about the worksheet, the working environment, and potentially of cells themselves. Let's imagine that we might want to display the current file name and its location. Equals cell, left parenthesis, and look at the choices we have here. As you look at some of these here, they're not exactly obvious what they all do, but I'm going to use the one here for file name right here. And we can just tab it into place. And as I press enter, I might be getting a lot more than I expected. What it's telling me is the name of the current file. Now, some people might say, well, of course I know that. I know which one it is and everything. But it shows us on the right side the sheet name, then the file, then the folder that it's in, and the folder that that's in, and so on and so on, the complete hierarchy. And sometimes that information is valuable, not only for display reasons, but for actual use within a worksheet. Suppose we always want to have the file name actually displayed here. Now that's giving us a lot more than the file name, but if we're familiar with other techniques, we could possibly pull out the name of the file itself. If we just wanted the sheet name, we could pull out the information from the right-hand side based on this concept. What are we looking for? What delineates or what tells us that we've got a sheet name out there? As soon as we find the right bracket. So you could use the function called find, and we're looking for, within double quotes, a right bracket. Now, if we're only looking for that bit of information is helpful. It tells us the following. What? It's in the 72nd position. We want everything after that. So we'll use that along with the mid function. The mid function allows us to look at this data, comma. Now, we don't want to start at the 72nd position. We want to start one character later, so +1. Now, that sheet name might be of different length, and so let's just use a large enough number here. 32 would cover it. Good enough, because 31 is the maximum. Anyway, right parenthesis, and we've got the current sheet name here. And again, sometimes that's useful in certain kinds of worksheets. If we wanted to pull out or extract from here the file name, we need to look for two things, the left bracket and the right bracket. So earlier we had done this. We'll do something very similar. This time we're looking for the left bracket, double quote, left bracket, double quote, comma, in this location. It's in the 52nd position. And almost the same, and actually we had done this earlier, equal find. We want to look for the right bracket because that terminates the end of the file name. Double quote, right bracket, double quote, comma, as we look here. So given that bit of information, we can now use the mid function again to say, let's go here, comma, and we use the 52. That's the starting point. That's where the left bracket is, but we need to go one character beyond that, +1, comma. And how many characters do we want to pick up here? Well, we need to subtract these two and then subtract 1. So the 72 minus the 52, that's 20, but actually we need to subtract 1 from that. So this should give us the actual file name. It's 12-information.xlsx, and there it is. So using these techniques, we can, along with the cell function, pull out information from the information like we're seeing in cell D1. Another use of the cell function is to tell us what type of data we've got in the cell. And sometimes we need this for documentation purposes. So right here, I've got some data just to the left of it. That's got text. This is blank. This is a number. This is a formula. Let's again use the cell function. This time we'll use type and just tab it into place, comma, sales. And we're going to get one of three answers. L means label. That's an L. As we drag it down here, B means blank, V means value. And that covers both raw numbers like this and formulas like this. So that is potentially useful information also. You might think of possibly using these with conditional formatting to highlight different cells in the worksheet based on whether they are blank or labels or values. Different ways of using that. The info function gives us a different set. You might want to have displayed, or you might need to know at different times which version of the software you're using, which directory is in use. Equal info, left parenthesis, and here are the choices that we see here. So the operating system version, OS version, is right there. We could tab that into place and simply press enter. And it tells us the current operating system. Similarly with directory here. Again, these are all info as we use them here. Directory, the current directory or folder, tab that into place. And finally, system, once again, info. The operating environment, tab that into place and enter. Now, it's pretty apparent that you don't need these all the time and maybe only occasionally, but it's a good bit of information. And at different times too, you will want to refresh these by pressing the F9 key. Now, these are not going to change, but sometimes when you save a file in a different location, you would expect these to change immediately. They don't always. Press F9 to update them. So, some utility type functions in the information category, cell and info.